All right, so here we go. This is going to look slightly different than the last one because I've been kicked out of my classroom and I'm recording it on a slightly different size screen, but function's just the same, so don't worry about it. So we're going to go to our two dice. Yeah, I tend to like, if I'm coding it on a screen, I like to have the screen there. It reminds me what I'm doing. Um, and we've just done the one dice, so I'm sure you could take that code and you could have a pretty good go at working out what the two dice is. And for some of you, that would be a great thing for you to do in a bit. But right now, don't pause this for a minute. Just watch what I'm doing. We're going to need to set some variables up, and I've not set variables up on JavaScript for you yet. So to do that, we're going to use the variables function here, and we're going to define the variable. We've got to declare the variable at the top. We've got to tell it it's going to be used because otherwise it won't like it. So we're going to come up to here, define variables, and these var ones are only used at the very top. They're only used to define it. Don't use it lower down, it won't work. So I'm going to write dice A, and here I'm going to write dice, go on, see if we can guess. Yeah, dice B. Alright, so what am I going to do here? Dice, nah, if you're thinking C, you see he's wrong, it's dice T for the total. And all of these are numbers, so 0, 0, and 0. Now look over here, we've got triangles here, and it's warning us, it's telling us that dice A is defined, but it's not called in your program yet. So, and it's just telling us that, hey, you put something down here, you might not need it because you've not used it. All right, now we've got these. Some of you might want to press pause and see if you can have a go yourself at making this work. Use your dice one as a model and have a go, a bit of independent practice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to go to functions and I'm going to get a comment and I'm going to drag the comment into here, and this is going to say two dice code. All right, so you're going to have hundreds of lines of code by the time you finish this, so we need to make sure it's nice clearly, we know what chunks are which. Now, when do I want to do something in here? When we turn it on, we want it to display the screen. We don't want it to do anything until I press this roll button. So how do I press the roll button? It's part of my user interface, so it's under UI controls, and it's on event. So the event is I press the two dice button. So I'm going to come down here, and when the button two dice roll is pressed, which is this one, I want it to do what the code happens in here. Now, I'm going to look on here, and the first thing I did last time was hide the scoring sheet. So let's do the same thing again. So let's come down here, and it's a little bit further down, set properties. Okay, so that's set position, set property down here. And it's the property we want of this box here. We want it to disappear. So that is label 2D dice. We don't want to change the width. We want to change, look at all these things you can change, hundreds of them. Oh, hidden, there it is. It was hidden from me. Sorry. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to store dice A, dice B, and dice C, and the total into our variables. So we go back to variables. And now, this time we don't use the VAR one, we only use that to declare the variable at the top. We're going to use this third one down here. And I want three of them again. Look, bring the X's up again. Alright, so if I type in here dice A, alright, then up here, look, the triangle against dice A has gone away. It's saying, oh, okay, you've used it now, that's fine. So what do I want in here? Well, I want a random number between 1 and 6. So I'm going to go to my maths again, and I'm going to pick a random number, 1, I've got to change that to 6. I'm going to do the same thing again for dice B. So between 1 and 6, and then here I'm going to type dice B. And this little triangle telling me X hasn't been declared because I've got X in here and I'm not told I'm just going to use it at the top. But I'm not going to keep X, I'm going to put dice T. Alright, and so dice T equals dice A plus dice B. Okay, and notice that I typed that in and it put the plus in forward, so I put a space in there and I put it forward. So once I've got that information, I want to put something on the screen. Now the screen's hidden, just like on here. Okay, so we set the text up here. So what we're going to do, I want to put the text on the screen. So we know we're using for a set text, and look, it's yellow, so it's going to be part of our user interface. Well, of course it is, because it's displaying on the screen. So back up, and we come down here, and we find set text. So what text do I want to change? I want to change label dice to dice. What do I want on there? Okay, so I'm going to delete now. I want dice A. Okay, then I'm going to put a plus and spaces in there. And I'm going to put speech marks and then a space, then a space, and then plus and a space, and then I'm going to want to put dice B. When I press enter, all looks good. It's put the pluses in for me. So dice A and that one dice B. It won't display it yet because we want it to wait half a second. So we need to go and put that green timer in. So we go to our control and go and get our set timer. And hopefully you remember down here, so half a second is, we use 400ths of a 4,000ths of a second, so 0.4 of a second here. Okay, and what else we do? Oh, we've got a play speech, haven't we? Oh, and set from. So there's two more things that are yellow. So let's come down here and play speech. We don't want it to say hello world, we want it to say these two added together. So we're going to put dice T, and we need to set the property to put this back on screen. So set property here, and we want to see label 2 dice, and then we want the dice screen. Okay, now that looks pretty much on here, but we've got these purple ones in here because it's a bit more complex. So I'm going to press run. I press 2 dice, I press roll, and I've got a warning. Line 38, play speech text parameter value 8 is not a string. Now what that means here, it doesn't like saying dice T because it's 2 numbers added together, but I can fix that dead easy. So I'm going to come to the end of it, I'll put dice T dot, and I'm going to convert that to a string. So I'll write 2 and then capital S string. So that's converted it to a string. I now need to put an open bracket and a closed bracket, and if I press enter there, okay, so that's dice T, which is our number, and it might be 7, and it's converted it into a string, which we'll be happy to talk about. So let's give that a go. Reset, run, dice 2, roll. Now it said 4, but we've not put that back on screen, have we? Now you may have noticed this already. I'm going to press reset. So why did it not come back on screen? Set property label, because we changed the width of it. All right, so let's go back on here and change from hidden to false. Okay, so fault finding is a huge part of what we do. So I'm going to press run, 2 dice. 6. Yep. 10. Cool. Now I don't know whether you can hear that, but I can hear the lady in my ear telling me what these numbers are. Okay.